Hello everyone, this is going to be a little bit of a different video. I want to talk about my country, where I live, the state that it's in. I want to bring awareness to it. Welcome to my channel. Give you a bit of a backstory on who I am. I'm someone who's still living with their parents. I was raised in a quiet town, well, mostly quiet. I was raised around farm life. I was raised around, my dad was a mechanic. My mother was, I don't know what jobs he did, but basically my dad was a mechanic and I heavily involved myself in things with cars, right? But with my life, unfortunately, my father wasn't a very good man, and being raised with a father who doesn't really love you, like everything he did was for himself. If there was even a moment of love, always somehow came back to himself. It was never unconditional. Thanks to this, I have seen some terrible things at a young age, and I'm aware of some of the much more darker sides of life. The older I get, I started seeing more and more. There is a huge disconnect between people who higher up, say like politicians. Whenever there's like a political party going for something, it's always they press a certain, they say, oh, we'll do this and that. They never actually follow through, and the people are just forced to take it. But I'm not going to speak too much about politics, because I also recognize that I'm quite ignorant in a lot of it. I will speak about the media though. When it comes to Belgium, there's a bunch of propaganda. The media here is very media heavily influences the country, and I'm not talking about YouTube, I'm not talking about any of that. There has been a YouTuber here that's been kind of growing and calling this shit out. If you know, you know. But aside from that, there's people who, it's just the media, like how you would have, what do they have it in the US? BBC News, I don't know. It's basically that, right? So the media heavily drives the country, and you will see a lot of narratives, a lot of propaganda, I would say, being pushed onto people, and it divides people, it blinds people. There's a lot of people who look at the media and accept it as an objective truth, while it really isn't. Or if it is, they pick and pull pieces that make the story fit. I'm talking about Flemish side, by the way, because I know there's like a whole French side. I don't know how it is on the French side, alright. I'm talking about the Flemish side, alright. There's this YouTuber that I was talking about earlier called Acid, who's been caught in the middle of these wars. I was just watching a video about it. So that's why I kind of wanted to make my own thoughts. In that video, well, it was more a synopsis really, but in that video, he got flamed on by the media. His sentences were taken out of context and he was painted as this aggressive force. Meanwhile, he was doing shit like calling serial killers and shit. I don't remember exactly what the exact story was, why he got flamed on. Yeah, no, it was like with a family channel or some shit, and sentences were taken out of context. Yeah, that's basically what happened, and that's basically what the media be doing around here. There's not a lot of people who are actually speaking, like actual people like me, like actual civilians, like actual people living normally. Like we're all just taking the blunt of it, in a manner of speaking. So basically, the media are like the mouthpieces of whatever the fuck they're saying. I don't know if it's a government thing. Like I said, I'm not the most knowledgeable on this shit, but basically mouthpieces. If you piss off the wrong person, they will flame your ass. They will put all the media on your ass, and they will drag your reputation through the dirt. Now, dragging someone's reputation doesn't just affect the actual person itself. Also affects the people around them, because you have friends, family, and stuff like that, and they get flack for being associated with people like that, for example, because like I said, the media is very influential here, so people get flack for being friends with a person the media flamed on. Now, I've also noticed in my everyday life that it's a lot of the times, the people higher up, whatever, the media, whatever, you look at these things and you think and you see people just don't, they're not connected. Like the people, normal people living everyday life, like, you know, for example, the YouTuber I was talking about, he's a guy living in his mom's bedroom. He's just a normal person, and there is no connection, there is no communication with the actual people. Like, it just feels like they make their own choices. They talk big game, but they are never able to back up their actions. Now I believe I believe a lot of it is just driven by money. What I'm trying to say is the media here in Belgium is very controlling. If you piss them off, you're screwed. But it doesn't just hold for the media either. It's also the justice system. Again, I'll use Acid in this example. The only thing he did wrong, quote unquote illegal, I wouldn't say it's wrong, is expose, from my understanding, the names of it was some kind of serial killer case, and he got a worse punishment than the actual serial killers. And you know, Acid's a big dude on the terms of the platforms and shit. So when it comes to stuff like that, no, he had the attention. He had people backing him up and stuff, you know. It got a lot of pushback, you know, and it really opened some people's eyes, I think, with this whole media thing and this whole justice thing. But there's a lot of people out there that aren't that fortunate, so they will land in situations like this. Like, I'm pretty convinced there's private courts, stuff like that right now going on, where people who did something wrong get convicted less than someone who tried to do something right. And I also press this point a lot when I talk about laws and stuff. Now, obviously, some things are just wrong, right? But when it comes to laws, I see a lot of people replacing their moral compass with laws. That's what I see a lot. Now, I'm not saying that older laws, like laws and having rules and shit, that's good to a certain extent. But it's gotten to a point here where the rules aren't even for the people anymore. They're not for their protection. Though they will tell you that it's for your protection, but it's an illusion, because the only thing they care about is getting in your pockets. Or at least it very much feels that way. They do not listen to the people. They do not listen to anything. They just make up rules. They make the illusion that it's for the safety for people, even though it isn't. Then they make everything more complicated than it should be. I believe they do this, from what I can understand, just to keep control over their country. I don't know, I don't get it, but it's something to do with control. Anyway, this was kind of my event, a little rant. If y'all enjoyed this, leave a like and subscribe. I'm not very good at articulating my points. I hope I got something across. Again, yeah, just a lot of disconnect.